What's up, everybody? Something a little bit different today. As a long-time MMORPG player that's played World of Warcraft for nearly 20 years at this point and has played every other big MMO and spent a lot of time talking about them on this channel, there has always been a blind spot. One big MMO with a massive audience that I just never got into, and that game is RuneScape. As someone who's always been a big part of the WoW community and who follows a lot of WoW streamers and content creators, my feed right now is all just RuneScape. Everybody is playing it, and not only that, but everybody is praising just how good it is. So I gave in, and I've been playing it as well. I've been playing it for around 6 or 7 days now, and I want to share my thoughts. I want to share my journey in the game and how it feels jumping into this with no knowledge as a person who's played lots of MMOs but never quite gave this the chance. So I grabbed the game on the Jagex launcher, and there's a choice between the official client or RuneLite. And I've heard RuneLite is amazing and people love it, but I wanted to start simple with nothing like no plugins or add-ons or anything like that. Just keep it as simple as possible. So I went with the official launcher to start. First things first, make a character. And this was definitely something to get used to. The pixels, the graphic style is very, very different. Coming from things, like World of Warcraft. Final Fantasy 14 is a game I've played for years. Going from graphics like that, where you spend ages looking at tiny details of your character, to this is interesting, but it's something that definitely has a charm that you sort of get used to the more you play. So onto the tutorial. First things first, catching shrimp, cooking them, and burning half of them. But getting the first endorphin hit, that first level up, the noise, the animation, something about it is satisfying. And I can feel there are many more to come. Then off to the chef to be told that we're a bad cook and we need to make proper food, bread. And this is the first time I actually saw how detailed RuneScape is. Coming from things like, wow, you're mostly dealing with an interface. You'll go to a cooking trainer, they'll teach you a bunch of recipes, and you just click the button. As long as you've got the ingredients in your inventory, that's it. Whereas here, there's a lot more detail. You go and get a bucket, you fill it with water, you combine that to make flour, and that's just like one recipe. And then it's seemingly the same when you get to the next section, mining ore, smelting it in the furnace, then taking it to the anvil. It just feels very, even though the graphics aren't immersive, the gameplay feels like you're doing it. It's hard to explain coming from other MMOs, but I can already feel I'm going to get very, very into the profession system, the skill system in this game. And then onto the combat, this is probably the thing that's going to be the hardest to get into, I think, because coming from, lots of other fast-paced, either action combat or, tab target, they're very, very fast and very adrenaline filled, whereas the combat here was much slower, almost turn-based, just both tapping each other 1-0, 1-0. It felt very slow, but it's very early. I'm sure there's a lot more depth to it. So yeah, let's see how it goes. And you had to choose then hardcore, Iron Man, and loads of other different difficulty modifying things. I have no idea what any of it means. I don't know how restrictive any of it is. So I just went for the standard, no non-Iron Man, non-hardcore, that kind of thing. I don't know if that makes me a filthy casual, and I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. I don't know how bad I'm going to be at it. So I just want to run the first time with as few restrictions as possible and try and just have fun and see what the game has to offer. If I get quite far in and, I love it and I want to put those restrictions on and that pressure on where I have to make everything myself, I'll happily make another character. This is, I love these kind of games when I get into them. But to start out, I did want to take it as smooth as possible. And then you're dropped into the world in front of adventurer John, who basically says, you're trash, go and get good. You don't know anything, you're not good with any of the different, combats, so go and get good and I'll reward you. And that's when I realized the game is a sandbox. For some reason, I thought this was either story-based or very heavily directional through quests. I've always heard, there's over 100 quests, there's a quest cape, the quests are the most important thing. I always thought this was a game where you are almost spoon-fed from quest to quest to quest, kind of like Final Fantasy 14, or the other MMOs where you go through a story that takes you around the world, and then when you're done, you're into endgame, and any professions you do on the side are up to you. Little did I know, there's just nothing. There's quests all over the map, but no real direction of where to start, which is really interesting. So I started with these Adventurer John quests, go and fish, go and chop some trees. And they also give you a starter kit, which has your first armor setting, which is pretty cool. So you can finally start to go and fight stuff. I was expecting you would have to craft your first set out of bronze or something, the beginner materials, but they just give it you, which is interesting. I guess this might be why people go Iron Man, so they can have that, that crafting survival aspect of every single thing's made themselves, because getting it handed out straight at the start was unexpected. And I also couldn't understand what the gear meant. Like you hover over it and the tooltip didn't really show you what was better than the other or what the stats were. So I wasn't really sure, you go over like a mage outfit and then you go over a piece of armor and they just don't have any stats, at least not at first glance. So I didn't really know what any of it meant. So I just ran around in basic armor the whole time, no matter what I was doing, because I didn't really know. It was not good. So I started questing because I didn't really know what to do first. So I started questing and I took the cook's assistant from the castle, and he basically just told you to go and gather a bunch of stuff, an egg, milk, and some flour, I think. So off I went, and on the farm I was critiqued for being a terrible milker, being told my milking skills were bad because all I had was the bowl and you needed a bucket, which would have been great to know. So all the way back to town looking for a shop to buy a bucket, and I that's when I had the realization, this isn't a game that holds your hand. This isn't a game that even tells you what to do. And, you've really got to lock in for these quests. You've really got to, learn the game, learn where things are. A part of me really likes that. The other part is hesitant that these are going to get very, very challenging and very confusing. Okay, milk secured. It was time to go and get the wheat. So I gathered a ton of wheat from the farm, went to the mill and started trying to fill my inventory with wheat to either sell or level some sort of crafting. And I realized again that I don't know anything about the game because I had all the wheat, but I only had one bowl or container to put the flour in. So yeah, lessons learned. I feel like this game is pretty much just learning by doing wrong. Learn by making mistakes over and over and over again until you get where you need to be. I'm not sure if I'm just an idiot or if that's kind of how you're supposed to play RuneScape. So I did a couple of the other basic starter quests around the first town, which was like intro to fishing and things like that. So I did those, and then I wanted to get into combat. I wanted to, level combat because I think at 10 and 20 you get a reward from Adventurer John, and then as well as that, I feel like I couldn't go anywhere because I was just going to get beaten by wolves and all the other monsters around the starter zone. So I started fighting the goblins and the other starter monsters. I went to the highwayman. And I got one of those, dropped a cape, which is pretty cool. I don't know if they're rare. I don't know how good it is, but it was my first cape, so I was pretty happy. I kind of like that the monsters just have random drops. I think that's very, very exciting. Lots of games nowadays, lots of MMOs nowadays, everything is very fixed and only like bosses have like rare drops. But knowing that like any monster in the game has different loot pools is very exciting. So yeah, I started just basically fighting things, and then I found this this spawn of rats. And I just fought rats for like 30 minutes. I just sat and hit rats, cooked their meat, ate the rat meat, and then fought more rats. I basically did this for about 35, 40 minutes. And I beat these rats until I got to level 10 combat, like melee combat. I didn't really understand, what the most efficient way is. It's like attack, strength, blocking. I don't know what the most efficient way. Should I be doing things my level? Should I be doing things a higher level than me and challenging myself? Or should I be hitting like low level things? Let me know down below if I'm doing it wrong, but I'm just trying to fight things that are around my level. But yeah, I'm pretty clueless, and I've been doing quite a lot of combat, and I've just been doing that as well. So let me know if I'm really missing the mark here. And then back to John, it was time to come up in the world. Inventory full of rat meat and level 10 rewards. And it was a full steel outfit, which again, I was really surprised that they just throw a steel set at you, because I was planning to, go mining and level smithing, because you do the tutorial. I was thinking like go level all that. And I clicked the smithing thing to open the guide, and steel was quite far down. So I feel like that's quite a jump. Yeah, I really don't know how to feel about these rewards, but either way, I'm feeling pretty strong. So it was definitely a good boost, and I could see how it makes the game a lot easier. Couldn't understand what they were or where they were or how to get there. It was saying, oh, you need to do this thing. I got confused. And the next thing took me to the wiki, which said, if you do the Waterfall Quest, you will instantly go from the start to 30 combat attack or whatever it is. So I thought that's a no-brainer. I'll go do the Waterfall Quest. There was no comment here that this was a really long and hard quest. So this was like on the other side of the map. So I headed there, spent the better part of 30 minutes trying to get around a mountain. It's like this ice mountain with like wolves on, these ice wolves, and I just couldn't get around it. So I had to walk like all the way north and around. Yeah, lots of things like this I just struggled with. I find the map really confusing. I don't understand how people get around. I don't have any I see there's like ways to teleport. Don't know how to do it. I see there's ships and other like hot air balloons and stuff. I don't know how any of it works. So I was just walking everywhere, which was really not efficient. And I gotta say, as part of this, it's when I first got really immersed. You come to like some of these zones, like this gnome place. There's like this big gnome maze, and there's these there's like this big field, and there's like these guys riding turtles and these things, right? These people riding chickens having like a big fight, and it's just really immersive and really cool. And I think the world design is just top class. I think it's really, really good. I was nervous like with the graphics that this wouldn't be very immersive. I thought this was all about like the numbers. Honestly, you really do. And while doing this, I was using the wiki as a basic guide of, you know, bring these runes, bring this rope, just so I knew where to start. And some of you might be thinking, well, that's not very hardcore of you. You should work it out yourself. Let me tell you, this took me like the better half of a day. It took me over half a day to understand and work this out, even with this guide. Maybe I'm too old, maybe my brain's rotted, but I'm finding it so hard to do the basic things, and even with a guide. So bear with me. This took me a long time. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it was definitely challenging. I think it's mostly map knowledge and game knowledge, and once I get over that, I think things will clear up a lot more. Yeah, either way, getting through this definitely helped me learn more about the game and the map, and hats off if you're doing this completely blind. You're a hero. You're smarter than me. But yeah, this was a fun one. The first probably big chunky quest where, you know, it was definitely challenging. I went to like really low health a couple of times during this from just getting like clobbered by these big monsters, but doing it gives a massive boost of XP. So I can definitely see now that questing is the way to go. Questing seems to be the way to get just massive amounts of skill XP really fast. And with this quest done, I teleported back to Lumbridge, went back to Adventurer John, and got a mithril sword and some other things, which was really, really cool. Like I say, I can definitely already feel the appeal of playing an Iron Man. I think once I actually understand the game and I have some knowledge and the game's not so daunting, I really want to already try again on an Iron Man, because these handouts definitely feel a bit shallow when you look how hard this stuff would have been to make originally. And then I tried a couple of skills. I tried, you know, running around and doing the pickpocket thing. That seems pretty fun. I don't really get where that leads other than just keep doing that. I tried the agility. That was less fun, but definitely rewarding. I feel like the movement speed is really important. So I did that to get it to like level 10, I think. And then I tried a few other things. And then I wanted to unlock Slayer. So I went over to the Slayer trainer in, I can't remember the name, the second town to the left. Draenor, maybe? The second town to the left. I went and did the intro to that. You kind of follow these tracks into a cave, and there's this big, what is he, like a tusked pig thing? A boar, this big boar thing. So yeah, fought this thing, and very nearly lost here. Very nearly. But yeah, defeated this. I think Slayer is probably one of the most interesting ones to me. I think the idea of going and fighting different monsters. I'm not sure if they're all as cool as this, like bosses, but it seems very interesting. I kind of want to unlock Slayer and do more, like level up Slayer and go through and do more of that, but I feel like my combat's gonna hold me back. So that's one thing I want to work on a lot. And then I just went on a big quest grind. I just went through a bunch of quests and just tried to make some progress, because you get so much XP from them, and it just felt like a good starting point. I started going through some. I did the goblin diplomacy one, where you basically just go and find outfits for the goblins. This was pretty interesting. I fight a bunch of goblins, get a bunch of goblin outfits, go to the witch, get some dye. It was a pretty cool one. I just like how interactive stuff is. Like, you have to go and find the monsters that drop the outfits, the goblins. Then you have to go and like find the ingredients for the dye, like the berries and whatever to mix the dye. And you have to work out like, hold on, how do I make orange dye? Oh, I have to find, you know, yellow dye and red dye and then mix them together. I find that so interesting. And, you know, the people that originally did this back then, it must have felt so good, because I don't think any other game has this level of, you know, depth to the quest. So yeah, very impressed. I did the kitten one, where you had to go and find a lost kitten. You go up on the rafters. There's like a cat, and then the kitten's down in a box below, and you have to go and like play whack-a-mole, going around and trying to find where the kitten is. Pretty cool one. I feel like most of the ones so far haven't been very combat involved, which is nice that you can get a good boost to your XP so early. Got a cool little cat pet as well. No idea what to do with it. Another one I really enjoyed was this one called Under the Mountain. You had to like assemble a team of people, and there was like one guy who was going to work on the door, one guy who was like the strong man, and you had to assemble this team of people, get them all together, and then, you know, they would help you get under the mountain. And there was, you know, this big monster there, this big stone monster, which was really fun. Again, every fight I get into is feeling really hard. So you defeat that. And then there's like this dwarven cavern under there, which is like a whole new area with a whole new thing you can do under there. And you can like make some new thing under there. I don't really get it. I don't have any smithing or mining yet. But yeah, genuinely just really impressed by not only how how interactive and detailed the quests are, but how much you get from it. You don't just get experience, you get like new systems, new mini games, new like features that fully unlock behind a quest. I don't know, maybe this is common and expected, but it was very surprising to me. I really liked it. So yeah, really impressed by the quests. After this, I just worked on skills, really. I just kind of like, I did a bit of fishing. I did a bit of agility training. I tried to get agility to 30 so that I could just get around a bit easier. And I hit the 24-hour in-game mark. So it feels like a good place to wrap up this video, because I have played a lot more since. I've probably done another 10 or so hours, 10 or 15 hours since then. It's mostly been just trying out the different skills, trying out mining, trying out fishing, trying out different things, and just seeing how it all works pretty inefficiently. Trying not to, you know, follow any like beginner guides, just trying to like see how things work myself, which has just been really fun. Definitely not the most efficient, but fun. I tried out the RuneLite client as well, and I think I prefer that to the standard version, just because of some of the settings. I kind of like the animation smoothing, which I think is probably not everyone's favorite. I really like it though. And I like there's like a setting that makes everything just a little bit softer and less pixelated. I really like that. I wasn't a fan of like the HD graphics, but I really like the just the softer textures, which you can probably see in this clip here. So yeah, I think this is a good place to stop. If you want to see more, let me know and I'll make a follow-up of this, you know, the next 48 hours or something like that. I definitely will happily continue this. I'm going to be playing this regardless of if I make any videos on it or not. Overall, I'm really, really, really enjoying it. I just wish I'd started sooner, if I'm being honest. I really like the quest system. I really like how interactive and how deep all the quests are. I love the skills. I genuinely can just see myself playing this for years just for the skilling alone. The skilling is just so satisfying. It's so rewarding. Even while making this, I've had things open to keep my skills going. So yeah, I'm a big fan. The only thing that hasn't fully gripped me so far is the combat, and that's just because I haven't done much. Like the most of my combat XP has come from the Waterfall Quest, so I just haven't done much. I haven't fought like challenging things. I haven't done really any magic, so much ranged. So yeah, I kind of want to do more. So the next, if you want to see more, it will be more combat stuff and like going deeper into the game and trying things like that, trying to level magic, stuff like that. So if you want to see more, do let me know. Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you want to see more. And if there's enough, you know, people want to see more of this, I'll definitely make a follow-up. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.